The Switch Mag Collection. Written by various authors and read by Sterling Wolfe. This video will be a collection of flash fictions randomly selected from Switch Magazine's website. They will be opening for submissions on November 1st, so if you have any stories less than 300 words you want to publish, or enjoyed the stories I read, go check them out. The link's in the description. Dancing Bats by Rachel Lister. I've always loved our darkling yard, and tonight I'm back, hogging the shadows in detective pose, scoping out your party. There you are, my mother, the hostess. Arms aloft, draping ambience. You make your way towards the window and plant a string of lights across the curtain rail. 10 years since I laid the diagnosis at your feet, but no matter. 'Tis the season for sensory seduction, not reasonable adjustments. You flip switches and the guests start to dance like stilted music box figures. Only there's no music yet. This is the work of the lights alone. You clap and twirl, your madcap movements releasing a spool of lapsed images. The theme? You, in surrender, hauling flashing reindeer back into the shed, condemning manic glow-in-the-dark garden gnomes to the garage, folding away wafty gossamer shades to make way for the sentinels, my beloved blackout blinds. Nobody warns you about the child who will drain your life of light. Oh sure, we snatched some moments, we crafted compromises. Each Halloween we'd waltz in soothing pumpkin candlelight in this very yard. Dancing bats, Dad called us that. You return to the window, spot me and smile. You point upwards, like you're praying, your mouth something. Are these okay? They're not. They're the worst kind of ambush. I'm just about used to the stabby, solitary shards shooting down from traitorous trees this time of year, but these are in clusters. You've conjured a kind of competitive radiance, each feral, muddling particle blinking at its own rate of intensity. This festive juddering will outlive the glow of your hopeful face, no doubt. But the most steadfast image of all will be you. Once again, an elegant retreat from my baffled rage. Never a hint of forbearance. They're fine, I mouth back. Just about right. Baba, could we go back in time? By Ani Banerjee. Say we could go to Puri again, our family as it was in 1977, on the beach, sitting in that restaurant, a little thatch hut, our hair dripping in salt water. And we ate the best fish curry, fresh fish from the sea, you said. And I could not eat much back then. I did not like the fish. Ma was angry at the wasting of food, and you said, "It's okay." And I said, "Okay, I'm done." And I went off to our hotel and lay in my bed with my book. And then you came, and you asked me so tenderly if I was really full. And then, what if we had gone to Khajuraho ruins, and then later to temple in the evening, missing the earlier rush, and by not trampled, not hitting his head, not damaging his spine, still able to play sports and work, and we the happy family we were meant to be. Bark, from the Old English word björken, by Karen Walker. Edward, the oldest Edward, barked a lot at fellow fishermen whilst in a tippy early bark. Bark, roughened from the prettier French bark. Then came Edris, or Edward V, a snappy serf. Edward, a yelly woodcutter who'd bark his shins with his axe, was the 8th or 9th. Eventually, we shall never know when, why. The hard layers of bark protecting the heartwood softened and peeled, revealing in 1906 Edward the whatevereth, the quiet, my grandpa. A miner of Lincolnshire ironstone, his pockets were always full of chocolate bark for waifs and sugar cubes for pit ponies. The End of the Novel, by Chris Wilcox. If he'd told anyone, he might have said it was like standing over a simmering pot for years, waiting for a magic fish. He grew tired of stirring. The novel was never supposed to be a secret, but once he'd abandoned it, stew, pot, and fish, who could he tell? Burying it was mawkish, a single merciless delete impossible, so he printed a copy and dropped it, whole, in the recycling bin, a chaotic flapping of wings. To fill the remaining afternoon, he dredged the koi pond and lined the bottom with freshly chipped stone. He drank cold water from a thermos, and wiped his lips on his sleeve. The bin occupied a wedge of darkness between the shed and a forsythia bush. Most of the year it was covered by forsythia's wild, unnecessary branches, which he was forever pruning and stacking. After the pond was done, he cut more branches and more. Once, he lifted the bin lid and saw, in a puddle of rainwater, his chapters coming to an end. "So that's that," he said. He closed the lid and took a walk in the light rain. The clouds were thin, yet seemed capable of organizing themselves into a real storm of dramatic and damaging winds. It was as fit an ending as any. Baba Yaga encounters her ex outside the discount supermarket, by Francis Gapper. A pensioner with scaly hen legs and the digestion of a witch's cauldron, she roams the shopping precinct on a hunt for her foil-wrapped marzipan treats. Time, pet named Tim, her spindly guitarist ex, appears outside Little. When young, they hiked through starlit canyons, grew frilled tulips, bought tiny jars of things like salmon paste. Now questioned by a hurrying man, Tim points synchronously in 3 directions. He was always a slippery fish, although maybe she grasps too hard. "Hello, Babs. Ooh, what have you got there?" She clutches, he tugs. Gold and silver sweets cascade. Thinbuazi, by E.P. Labrec. I don't remember the phrase my uncle uses. Not exactly, nor on which island they used it. But I remember him telling me what it means in English. It doesn't hurt. It passed as a saying among the men of that place. There you heard it in cafes, down at the docks, wherever 2 or more men convened. You heard it several times a day. My uncle was in love then, but he was deported after he contracted meningitis and had no money to pay for a doctor. She was peeling oranges for him when they came. I'm Sorry, Rachel, by Lisa Thornton. You're not dead, at least, I hope. When you stood in front of the Surfside after close and peed your pants, my boyfriend and I talked about it for years, how the blue of your jeans got darker and darker, and you smiled this little helpless smile like you were embarrassed but not embarrassed enough. The guy you were with is the one who's dead, blown to bits in some sandy foreign conflict zone. Iraq? Somewhere in northern Africa? Our editor's best friend since childhood, the tall, dark, and handsome war reporter you pulled away from us to take you home and clean you up. If you ever got clean. If you ever figured out how to enjoy a couple old styles without becoming a stumbling, slurring mess. Or you gave up altogether. We should have saved you ourselves instead of watching you get wetter and wetter. We should have known there's no way to observe a disaster without playing a role. The reporter knew. There's only a short window to be the people we should be. Montepulciano, by Tim Conley. There were times, though, weren't there, when we used to make each other laugh? Like the puppy that peed all over your carefully polished shoes, remember? When you went down to pet it? Or that guy that drowned, that moonless night on the way home from somebody's birthday. We decided to walk by the lake and I was holding your hand and your teeth were shining. Naturally, we heard him before we saw him, and we weren't all that sure we could see him. We only saw him a little, didn't we? All that splashing and gargling, incoherent. Then it all stopped. One of us, was it me? Suggested stopping somewhere for a drink, just to sit down after that. You were always so polite to servers. We both ordered Montepulciano, but didn't say, for once, that we always wanted to go there. And we were looking at each other's drained faces, and then who knows who started it. We burst into laughter, so explosive that the other tables on the patio looked at us. Those moments matter, even now. I want you to know that. And the final one for this video, Binti's Escape by Catherine Petruccelli. Yesterday, the volunteers, people who talk at her loudly, widen their eyes, and wave their hands, explained the oil she'd been putting on her skin was for cooking. She'd laughed and laughed until she cried. The children, their easy mix of words, were on the living room floor fighting over the rules of a board game. Binti takes in the couch, the framed photos of farms, the brown flowered curtains. She'd chosen none of it. She glances out the window at the taco truck, the Christmas lights. Comprehension wouldn't be hers today either. The dough prepared and her oldest capable, she tosses a quick bark over her shoulder about dinner, then dashes away. The door closes heavily behind her. She continues down the stairs, steps echoing off the peeling walls. She needs sky. She needs to sense herself in space. She thinks, I am drowning here. Even her own thoughts are strangers to her these days. Most nights, when her husband lies down next to her exhausted, smelling of glue and metal, he's come to repeat simply, "We're in America now, Binti." She dreams of her parents, her mother braiding her hair, her father's mouth of bright teeth. Where were they? "Keep running, child," they told her. Soldiers' uniforms coloring the street olive drab. Her skirt too thin for the wind here, she burrows into herself and focuses her eyes on the ground. When she next looks up, she's at the river, ice and its foreignness bobbing in the flow. She watches the trees that grip the bank, how they let cold swirls of water wrap around their exposed boots, how sometimes a piece of root will break off and rush away downstream. Thank you so much for watching the full video, and again, congratulations to Rachel Lister, Annie Banerjee, Karen Walker, Chris Wilcox, Francis Gapper, E.P. Lebrec, Lisa Thornton, Tim Conley, and Catherine Petrugelli. If you liked these stories, again, go check them out on Switch Magazine, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.